Mandy. It's Kathy Millett coming to you from I'm Enough, and I'm welcoming you back onto our recording, our live recording. And today, Mandy, we're going to talk about that big white elephant in the room. And it's one that we're seeing so much more than we've ever seen before, or maybe there's more awareness of it: depression. I don't know. I'm going to hand it over to you because I know you have some insightful information to share on that.
Hi, well, thanks for the opportunity to join you, Kathy. I'm Mandy Beverley from the Remarkable Group, and I just wanted to talk today about what is depression. Now, I'm not talking about it from a medical point of view. I'm actually talking about it just from a human behaviour point of view. And if there's anybody that's being diagnosed or anything like that, that's fine. That's not really what I'm talking about. I just want you listening to have an awareness of what causes it, so that you can find it, so you can actually just be aware of it for yourself. So it's just an awareness is what I like to do. With depression is that our minds have gone way down, okay? So they're really depressed. But the reason why they're down like that is because we have a fantasy about how we want life to be. And when we compare the reality of our life to that fantasy, it can't compare because the fantasy doesn't exist. So it sets up in our mind this depression, because the mind it's got the balance of both positive and negative, but it'll also maintain full quantum always. So full quantum, full unit of even energy of just both positive and negative. So the way we actually cause depression is to have this fantasy about this ideal life, that it's going to be all positive and no negative. But the energy of the universe says you can't have a positive without a negative. They both exist together. So one way to get yourself out of feeling down in the dumps, say, is just to start really appreciating your reality. What can you appreciate about your reality? What can you appreciate? What is serving you? How is it benefiting you? What is it doing for you in a positive way to get you out of the dump, out of the pit, say? So it gets you back into more of a normal frame of mind where you can see both positive and negative occurring at the same time. So it's quite a big overall strategy, but it's really powerful because the fantasy is going to create the downers. It's going to create those things. So we want to get the fantasy out of that high, out of that area, off the pedestal, say. So we've got to look at all the drawbacks of that fantasy, again, to bring us back into a really level playing field, a level mind, a balanced mind where it can see both positives and negatives, benefits and drawbacks of both. That's where we've got the most flexibility as humans.
And that fantasy, because earlier on in one of our earlier podcasts we spoke about the comparison, can that fantasy sometimes be directly linked to that comparison that we may have towards what other people may or may not have?
Yes, or that friend that looks like they've got it all, and or that everyone's going to be nice to me, no one will be mean to me, or if they can, there's all manner of things, or I'm always going to be positive, I'm never going to be negative, I'm always going to be happy. That in itself is a negative, because now we're looking always for people to support us. So we never try harder. We never, we don't do the things that we need to do to grow into actually who we are. So it's an important concept to get your head around, literally.
And it was interesting. I was reading something about Richard Branson last night, and he was saying his most happiest moments are when he's actually in the moment, when he's smelling the flowers and looking at the trees and actually being in that very moment, not in the future, but at that very point in time. As you said, the sun is shining, it's a lovely day. That's a moment of happiness, and often we don't give ourselves a big tick for feeling that very happy thought in that very moment.
Yeah, and in that moment, that's what you call mindful, because your mind is full of the present moment. But most of us are living either in the future with fear of the future and shame and guilt of the past. That's generally where most of us live. But so we can only have moments of being present. we can't do it all the time, because you need to be able to see the balance of both positive and negative. So you can have moments of being really present and mindful, and it does, you really appreciate it, because you stop, and like this morning, it's dark when we get up these days, and so the stars are all out. I mean, it's been raining so much here, we haven't seen them, and out in the country here the stars are so bright, and it was just so beautiful, and you just stop and you think and you just appreciate just a little, and there's so much here to appreciate if we just remind ourselves to do so.
So Mandy, if we had to sum up the thoughts around depression, and obviously we understand that depression is such a vast area, and as you've said,
Yeah.
You're talking about as a mindset or a thought process towards that. What would your 3 things be that you could share with somebody feeling in that low moment?
The first one is that you're going to have moments of feeling down. Okay, you're going to have moments of being up, and you'll also have moments of being down. But in that moment of being down, what can you appreciate about yourself? Where are you providing value? Where have you done something for someone else? What have you been contributing to that you're not acknowledging? Start to find where you are doing the things that you really like about yourself. Because in order to feel depressed, you've got to block out the other side. And what we're trying to do is just literally open up your awareness to start to acknowledge the other side, which is the things that you are contributing to, and the people who do love you unconditionally, and the fact that you took the rubbish out for your mum on Wednesday night, or you just start acknowledging the things that you are doing right, rather than judging yourself for doing all the wrong things.
Okay, so the first is acknowledgement.
Yeah, definitely acknowledge. Again, it's asking questions. That's the big thing, because your questions will get you out of where you are. If you're asking disempowering questions about, or you do statements like, I am so bad, I am this, it's like that's not strictly true. Because remember, you're also positive as well as negative energy. Both of those components are within you. They can't not be, because that is science. So go looking. So the next one is go looking for where you already are benefiting and serving someone in just being you.
Perfect. So we acknowledge, and then we have to go and look. And what was your third?
And if you're feeling really down, don't be afraid to reach out. And I would say reach out to someone that's got a little more perspective than you. We often want to talk with our friends, but sometimes they may not have the ability to help you. And there's a lot of people around that really would just love to help if they can in any way. But all we need to do is reach out sometimes, and just to realize, the problem's just a little bigger than me. I don't have the perspective that I need right now, and I need some help. And that it's okay to ask for help. People love to help. Yeah. So that would be what I would suggest too. And there's so many different organizations around, and there's so many people that have an amazing ability to listen and to offer solutions. So, start to look for those as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important, because what we've just said, there might be people who feel that they really don't have anyone around them, and that could be a new immigrant to the country. But for those people, there are organisations that they can reach to. But for the others, it's about maybe creating that little bit of a tribe around you of people that are not always your direct friends, but people you can turn to when you need that level of support in your life.
I think so. I think a lot of us, especially, a lot of us think we've got to have lots of really amazing friends. But you know what? At the end of the day, we usually just have a few good friends around us, the ones that no matter what will be there for us. And everyone has those around them. and it may just look a little differently to how we thought that would look, but there will be people around you. So just ask and keep asking, you know.
Wow. As we said, that's a very big topic, and perhaps we're going to need to come back to it at another point in time. But once again, Mandy, thank you so much for your insightful wisdom, understanding, thought process, the positives and the negatives. And I'd really like you to thank you for being on here today. Would you like to share at the end of this podcast your details in case anyone would like to reach out to you?
Sure, it's info@remarkablegroup.co.nz. So thank you for the opportunity. And as I said before, it's just an awareness about what causes depression and things like that. So so maybe we can be a little more mindful of how we go forward in life. But as you say, you'll put all the details probably below this anyway.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mandy, and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.